So I wasn't going to review this after I got through watching the movie, but I'm wearing my Guardians of the Galaxy shirt. I gotta represent James Gunn. I gotta represent the Suicide Squad, even though this is Marvel. James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy, went ahead and did the Suicide Squad. And you know what? It was a fun flick. And I'm going to review it on this episode of Movie Breakdowns. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's Movie Breakdowns? Movie review series. We look at new and old movies, give a grade 8 through F, plus or minus a D count. And there's a movie you want me to review, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. I also have a Patreon, Patreon/Ali Zakka. And on that Patreon, you, for $2 a month, get a cut in front of everybody. Request any movie you want me to do, I do it immediately, get it out there because you're paying for my services. That's what I do. You also get other stuff like trade reaction, trade review, much more stuff on my Patreon. Also shout out to Tyler Phoenix for your support for Patreon. Appreciate you. And thank you guys for watching this channel. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for love, support. Please comment, subscribe, do what you gotta do. Appreciate you. And for this episode of Movie Breakdowns, I am reviewing the 2021 The Suicide Squad, which is a sequel to the first Suicide Squad. However, this one's not done by Zack Snyder and all the production issues. This one's done and written by James Gunn. And this first half review is spoiler free. No spoilers. I'm going to tell you guys the spoiler section later on. But right now, this is a non-spoiler review. And let's go ahead and get into it on this episode of Movie Breakdowns, The Suicide Squad 2021. Let's go. And what is this movie about? Well, this movie is pretty much similar to the first movie. You have Amanda Waller, who's in the first movie. She comes back. She gets a bunch of villains and degenerates and people who are anti-heroes, pretty much get them all together and go off and do a mission that if they fail, the government cleans the hand of. If they succeed, good job. You get 10 years off your sentence. That is the Suicide Squad in this movie. This time they go in, instead of being in the United States, they go into another country and working on putting an end to a secret project that could spell doom for everybody. That's it. That is it. That is the Suicide Squad of 2021. And first thoughts with this movie, beautifully done. The movie is visually amazing. There is multiple shots in this movie that I want to put on a poster or put it on a background of my computer or a cell phone. It is a beautifully designed movie. And James Gunn, his comedy he adds to the movie, which you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, there is going to be comedy in this movie. And there's comedy in this. It's pretty much James Gunn doing it again. He's grabbing a bunch of no-name super villains. The only one you really know is Harley Quinn, but everybody else you do not know unless you're a true DC fan, which I have a DC encyclopedia, so I knew a few of these people, but he snags them all and make you care about these characters. He make you feel for them and give them a personality where you're like, oh man, I want to see more of Idris Elba. Like, I want to see more of his character. I want to see more of John Cena. James Gunn does a good job with that. And also, speaking of John Cena, Idris Elba, when I get to the cast is done well too. And the chemistry between the characters in this movie is phenomenal. But yes, visually this movie is amazing. Music, the movie does put like actual songs in the movie, like there's actual like real life songs for the OTS of this movie, and then the actual movie score is also pretty good too. You listen to it and you get moments of like, oh man, you get that moment like this is amazing, and then when other movie music playing, you're like, oh okay, I get why you played it because a character was humming it 5 seconds ago. Neat, nice little touch there. As far as that, my first thoughts. I feel like the movie is 2 hours and 13 minutes. It's paced Well, it is rated R. I will mention that. So with that being said, you are gonna see bloods and guts. You're gonna see people get their head chopped off. It's all the things you see in a rated R movie. Think Deadpool, you're gonna get it in this movie. Think Logan, you're gonna get it in this movie. It is definitely a rated R movie, and you will be taken back by some things. But as far as the jokes they do land. There's characters who they play off of each other so well that you're like, I wish I could see a movie with them in it only. It's a good movie. It's fun. Definitely go watch it. Now let's go ahead and get into the cast here, and I'm going off of IMDb. I want the whole cast, but I feel like if I do that, if I put it in order of how they did it. So let me go back here to the top cast. Margaret Robbie as Harley Quinn. She's perfect as Harley Quinn. Like, she's top notch. Good work. I will say the Harley Quinn in this movie is different from her Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad, and slightly similar to her Harley Quinn in the Birds of Prey movie. However, in this one, she's done already. You don't really need to know much about her backstory, and she has moments to shine, and Margaret Robbie does a great job being adorable and being also terrifying with Harley Quinn. That it's done well. Harley Quinn is perfect in this movie. Like, she's good, solid. Idris Elba as Bloodsport, great job, Idris. Like, I think he was done flawless in this movie. He had the moments where he had quips, snarky, and he had moments where he's just like, all right, let me go get the work done. He is just stoic, badass character who literally takes crap for no one, but also will do what needs to be done for the betterment of everybody else. Like, he has a heart. I would say that Idris Elba is great. John Cena is thinking Idris Elba times 2. He is hilarious. He brings the jokes. Him and Idris play off each other so well, where you're like, man, I want to see them in a movie. There's a scene where they're like, those two take still a part of the movie, and you're just like, okay, I want to see this. And then throwing Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag, who played in the first movie, he's in this, and him, who's just as good as John Cena and Idris Elba. Like, those three, if they was in a movie together, I will watch them if there's character. They play off each other so well, and you can see, like, they actually are friends. I would say that in this movie. Like, in this movie, speaking of that, the cast of the Suicide Squad, they actually get to know each other, and they actually get to bond. In between huge action pieces, there are moments where the characters ask each other certain stuff because they're getting to know each other and getting to make sure, like, okay, how'd you get here? What'd you do? And they're telling each other stories throughout the movie in between huge action pieces, which then give the audience more time to grow with these characters. And they just don't dump it onto you at the end of the movie before the final fight. They do it throughout the movie, so therefore you're like, you care for these people. Good job, James Gunn. Good job, those three guys. Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. She's just as terrifying as she was in the first movie. You don't mess with her. You don't cross her. Good job for her. And by the way, John Cena's character, I did miss over, I didn't mention his name, but John Cena's character is named Peacemaker. And Peacemaker, speaking of which, just like I said, he's like Idris Elba, the same kind of concept of the character, but just better. And he even states it in a part of the movie where they have like a little back and forth, and they're like the same skill set, but they're the same skill set, but they're different in a way. They're not the same exact person, I would say that. But once again, solid character. Johnson brings funniness to the movie. I think his comedic chops with Idris Elba's seriousness is perfect. And as far as the character of Peacemaker, solid character. You have David Dastmalchian, who played in Ant-Man as one of Ant-Man's friends. He's in this movie as Polka Dot Man. Thought he did a good job. He was solid, and James Gunn make you get attached to him as well. And David's his demeanor in the movie is great. I freaking love his demeanor as his character. And Danella Melchior, who plays Ratcatcher, she was great. I thought she did a good job too, and she brings her reactions, her reactions, and the way she handles the character, she brings the character to life, and you get more attached to that character too. And speaking of bringing character to life, Idris Elba does the same thing with his facial expressions in certain scenes and certain parts of the movies, which the cast is solid. They all play off each other so well. It's a good cast. And then you also have Sylvester Stallone as King Shark, and he's also another good character to the movie. I didn't really have, one of my friends went with me and she asked me, do you have like a least favorite character? And I was like, it was hard for me to pick. So that shows you. And then she asked me, do you have a favorite character? And that's like, once again, it's hard for me to pick. So it shows you that this movie is done really well, where the characters, you get attached from all of them, and it's not like a letdown for your characters. Any other thoughts? Directing, I think the movie was solid. Directing was really good. Different camera angles, different cut scenes. There's like tracking shots in the movie, and there's parts of the movie where like most title scenes for movies are most like destination shots where like, you know, Paris, France, or you know, New York. Like the Avengers movie does. That same thing happens in this movie. However, James Gunn does it in a unique way where you're like, huh, I wouldn't catch I wasn't looking at it correctly. So I do give it props to that. Also, I do like how you give each character their own moment to shine, and you get to grow on those characters. And it's like, okay, we see how these characters work and how they play off each other and how fearsome they can be and how amazing they can be. But there's also moments in the movie where you're just like, why is that scene necessary? Okay, this is happening. All right, this is really wacky, over the top. I guess we're going with it. We're rolling with it. There's a scene where Idris Elba, I'm talking about my spoiler review, but like spoiler section, where it's just like, this is going on for a moment. Okay, sure. Okay, this is happening. So there are moments where you're like, all right, we're just getting over the top here, and there's also moments where you're like, yeah, let's go. Like in the trailer, that rain scene where they're walking through the rain, it's phenomenal. On the big screen, you're like, wow, amazing. So I will say that, and the directings and shots are great too. So solid there. Is this a Friday night movie or a movie you should see in theaters? Yes, watch on HBO Max. If you're gonna stay at home and be safe and watch it, and you go to the theaters, wear a mask. It's not being a public service announcement. This is just my opinion on that. But wear a mask, go watch on the big screen, be safe as well, and it's great. Now, grading time. I'm going to grade the movie The Suicide Squad from the year 2021. I'm grading it a solid B. This movie gets a B from me. It's a fun movie. It's not the greatest movie, but it's definitely a fun movie. Better than most of the movies of 2021 I've seen so far. It's a B, and you're gonna love it. You're gonna enjoy it if you're really into this, you know, comic book world. And James Gunn does another great job with another no-name characters. So yeah, it's a B. If you guys seen Suicide Squad, what did you think? Please put it in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns. And you're on the wait around for the spoilers section. See you in the spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Alright, spoiler time for The Suicide Squad from 2021. So, some of the stuff I really want to talk about that stood out to me is, one, the first part of the movie is like, the movie has a bunch of actors and actresses in it, but majority of the Suicide Squad gets taken out in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. Gone, wiped out, leaving you with another set of Suicide Squad people, or another team of the Suicide Squad, which has Peacemaker, Bloodsport, Ratcatcher, Polka Dot Man, and King Shark. But how they get introduced to you, don't get introduced to you like in Suicide Squad 1, I'm gonna say SS1 for here now. In SS1, we're like, oh, Amanda Waller's reading you a book and showing the generals, this is Deadshot. No, it was like they walked up and then they had like this cool, hero shot, and then it goes into like a 3 days earlier, but Idris Elba's cleaned the toilet, so like the soap on the toilet is falling out 3 days earlier, and you get introduced to them and why they're there. Idris Elba's character, who is Bloodsport, who I believe would probably fit for Will Smith, in my opinion. The way Bloodsport was designed and written in this movie almost fit the arc of Will Smith's character in the SS1. In SS2, Bloodsport has a daughter who pretty much is about to get killed by Amanda Waller because she stole a watch, has a court date, and Bloodsport get brought into this by Amanda Waller, who doesn't care. She's like, I don't care about your daughter. I just need you to do this job, so I'm willing to kill your daughter to make sure you come do this. If you don't do this, your daughter die. So Idris Elba jumps in, or Bloodsport jumps in because of that. But in SS1, Will Smith character Deadshot had a young daughter, and this movie, that young daughter is now a 16-year-old, and I believe it's probably the same exact reason for what they're doing. So I can almost see like it would probably be Will Smith, but they changed him up a little bit. But I feel like Idris Elba knocked it out the park. It wasn't a bad thing putting him in this movie. Idris Elba is awesome. And there's a scene where I talked about in the previous section where like Idris Elba's falling through this building, and you think he's gonna like die. He's falling, he lands on his feet, and like, okay, and then the building just keeps breaking for like 7 stories. It's the same thing over and over again. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, we're doing this, we're getting wacky. And as far as wacky, the main villain or the main antagonist of this movie is a guy named the Thinker, and Starro, who is a giant space starfish alien who takes over people with its little starfish body. And it's in the trailer, but you don't really know what they don't show you exactly what Starro looks like. And Suicide Squad gotta find out how to stop Starro from getting out, and then they don't stop it, and they gotta fight Starro at the end of the movie. And you're like, how are they gonna do this? And I do like how they come together to do it. Like they're about to give up. They're like, we're going home, we're done with our mission, we're supposed to stop, we're supposed to destroy the lab that was creating Starro and get Starro to get bigger. We're supposed to stop the lab, destroy it. The lab gets destroyed, but Starro escapes, and Ratcatcher, who cares about all these people and the children, which is a running mention in this movie, is the children. Everybody talk about kids. You kill children, you kill children, you kill children, you kill children. Like every person mentions it at one point. Weasel, who's in this movie, has 27 children. Somebody else with the children. Harley Quinn talks about one guy who killed children. Like they really tell you like they don't care about adults, but when you mess with kids, like all of them was like that's the line. And Ratcatcher kind of gets Bloodsport to turn around and go and help stop Starro. And there's a part of the movie where, to me, reminded me of the first Avengers movie, where Bloodsport was like looking at King Shark, who loves to eat humans, like, King Shark, nom nom, nom nom, nom nom. So he goes and eats Starro. And then Polka Dot Man, who has a hatred towards his mother, so everything he sees is his mother, which is a very creepy image you get to see of his mom multiple places throughout the movie, and you just like, oh god. But he tells him like, your mom is Starro, and Starro turns into his mom in his mind, and he fights his giant mother, and you're like, whoa, what am I watching here? Kind of movie. But it works out, it works for this movie. And the ending of the movie, like, okay, it is over the top. And for a moment I thought they were just gonna have it where they talk to Starro. Starro's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go home and go back to outer space. No, Starro was like, no, F that. I'm taking over the city, and Suicide Squad gotta stop it. I was about to say, where's the Justice League at? But the Suicide Squad took care of it. Harley Quinn has plot armor out this world in this movie, but That's what she's there for. She's there to be badass, Harley Quinn. Like, she has a giant staff throughout this movie, and she pretty much survives everything and dives into Starro's eyes for one thing, which is a pretty unique and cool visual scene. But also she has a moment where she kicks butt in a capture cell. She's in a cell, she breaks free on her own, kicks everybody's butt, kills all the bad guys, has a really cool scene going through destroying people left and right. It's kind of getting more like Deadpool-y, where you have like different colors and flowers, kind of like the first Harley Quinn, the Birds of Prey movie, how unique that is. But Harley Quinn was there just to be a reason to get butts in seats, and does a good job of it. She's great. It was cool seeing Rick Flag. He's more laid back, not as gung ho as he was in the SS1. In this one, he's a little more laid back of a leader, but he still has the same virtues he had in the first one, where he's like still clean cut. There's a scene where in this movie threw me off for a loop, which is also one reason I gave it a B grade, because Peacemaker and Idris Elba having a competition for each other, who can take out the most people in the camp that has Flag captured. And they're going through and they're taking out people left and right, and they finally get to Flag, and Flag's just chilling with T, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And King Shark spits out a person's body, and the lady that they was helping, who was part of the Flag's operation to take over the company, or over the country, who was wanted peace for democracy, she was like, "We're freedom fighters, and you took out half my team. What the heck? Why are you Americans doing this?" And Flag's like, why would y'all do that? And they're like, "We thought you was captured." Why didn't Flag tell Waller that he had his people on the inside and he was safe? I don't get that. But it made a cool scene. There's cool moments in this movie where you're like, "Oh man, this is pretty dope." And at the end of the movie, John Cena character is Peacemaker, who does no matter what he wants to do for liberty. He was like, "We can't let this get out. I'm working for Amanda Waller. Like, I'm her side pocket. If anything goes left, I'm there to clean up." And he pretty much tried to take out everybody. He kills Flag, which sucks. A lot of people do die in this movie. Flag does die, and then John Cena, Peacemaker, meets Idris Elba, who they had a pretty cool bond throughout this movie. How they go against each other. They don't hesitate. They look at each other. They see Ratcatcher, who John Cena's about to kill, and Idris shoots at Peacemaker, and Peacemaker shoots back at Bloodsport, and Bloodsport wins. But John Cena he doesn't die. He does the after credit scene where he does survive, so I do want to say that. But him being the clean cut character like he is in WWE, in this movie, and he's like, I do what I gotta do for justice. It worked. It really does work. As far as Sylvester Stallone as King Shark, he was fine. James Gunn does a good job with Groot. We get a character saying, "I am Groot." King Shark's pretty much the same thing. He doesn't really speak much, and he has comedic moments where he's being goofy, but he's not trying to be intentionally goofy. It's just the way he's written. It's okay. But I would give it props to Ratcatcher, who is played by Danella McQuire, because her backstory and who she is and how she is pretty much a timid character at certain times, and she's a character with heart. Like, she cares. The only reason why she got tossed in jail is because the rats are considered weapons of mass destruction because she robbed the bank, which is also robbed the bank. But anyway, the rats are considered dangerous, so she threw her into that kind of jail with all like the supervillains. She pretty much minded her own business, and she wanted, Idris Elba to bond with her pet rat, which Idris Elba has a fear of rats because his dad threw him in a box, which is also a good scene because Idris is scared of the rats throughout the whole movie, and they try to figure out why. But Ratcatcher loves rats because her father, Ratcatcher 1, used the rats to keep him warm and as things to help, and the rats did steal to give him some kind of money and keep him afloat, but it wasn't bad people. They were just trying to do what they got to do to survive. I get that. But Ratcatcher, her and Idris Elba has a father-daughter moment where they look at each other and Idris sees his daughter in Ratcatcher. I believe he even says that to her, like, he kind of reminds me of my daughter. So when he sees John Cena about to kill her in the movie, that's where he's like, I gotta defend her no matter what, because she's not, of all of them together, she's not the worst one. But John Cena's like, I just gotta do what I gotta do. And she was cool. I enjoyed her character a lot, and I actually want to see more of her. To be honest, I want to see more of her. Harley Quinn, Bloodsport now, Deadshot, Peacemaker, and Flag, and more stuff. Like, I would be down to see them in the comic books and see how they are. And not their original version, but the movie adaptation version of them. Because they have more heart. James Gunn did a good job with that. At this point, I'm just pretty much talking about stuff that I want to talk about, and to me, it's a fun movie. Go watch it. Go enjoy it. It is rated R. There's blood everywhere. There's different shots where you see blood and guts comes out. There's cuss words left and right. But other than that, it's a fun movie. Go enjoy it. Fun superhero flick. If you guys stuck around for this, put your comics well, please put spoiler in it so people are like, oh my gosh, spoiler. But put it in the comment section. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episodes of Movie Breakdowns or Grind Towards Success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.